Hi, I'm Mary, a librarian and book reviewer with a focus on stories written for kids, tweens, and teens. Today I get to share with you this book called Under the Fading Sky, written by Cynthia Kadohata. This is the story of Elijah Jensen. Elijah has had his whole life planned for him. He's going to a great high school so he can get into a great college and have a great life, because Elijah's parents had to work for everything that they have, and they want to make sure that Elijah has everything he could ever want. But Elijah has some other dreams in mind, one of which being a pro mountain biker, especially before he heads to college. So he and some friends are playing one day, and they decide to take a little bit of a chance. And while it works a little bit of the time, one of Elijah's friends ends up getting injured, and on his way to the hospital, he rides with someone from their past who doesn't have all of the traits that their parents might prefer. So because they now have this new connection, they also have a chance to do something that is just for them and to exercise a little bit of that independence and autonomy that they're craving. But the path that they've chosen is not necessarily the one that their parents would have chosen, and not necessarily one that is going to lead them to a desirable future. And when things get totally out of hand, Elijah has to reconsider everything he ever wanted and where he might be going in his life. This story reads a lot like a J.D. Salinger novel. There's a lot in here about the questions that follow teenagers, especially ones who, even through the best of intentions, have had their lives prescribed for them by their parents. Just looking at the world through the lens of a child who sees the inequity around them as far as the income disparities and the fact that some kids have a great high school experience while others do not. Some have to work really hard for things. And so there's a lot of that questioning that comes through in this story. It is told in the first person from Elijah's perspective, and it's a very much stream of consciousness style storytelling. So it takes a little bit to get off the ground to figure out exactly where the book is headed. But once you kind of get there, you realize that Elijah has put himself on a path that's a bit of a downward spiral. And even when he sometimes looks like he's going to be getting out and back on track, he finds himself back in the spiral again. So he is a character that I think a bunch of young adults will definitely resonate with, as far as that desire to have his own identity, even when he has this seemingly on the outside, this perfect life, but he knows that he wants something more, something that's just for him. Also, there is a lot of drug references. There is some strong language in this book, so definitely better for a mature audience. And as you're reading the book, you really get inside of Elijah's head and all of the reasons why he does the things that he does. It makes you empathize, even if you've never been in these experiences, to understand exactly why these characters are making these choices, even when on the surface they may not seem like the right choices, but there are reasons behind them. So the book itself is fairly lengthy. It has a good amount of white space, though. Some of the chapters are pretty short, others are longer, so very true to a stream of consciousness style storytelling. And Elijah is a character that does ramble a bit, and you can tell, though, that he loves his friends, he loves his family, and there are things that really do drive him. And as he falls into this world of substance abuse, he loses some of that passion and desire. And it's just interesting to watch as those things happen, not only for him, but for friends in his vicinity as well. So definitely a heavy story, one that makes you question what's right and wrong in the world and how things are all balanced, and also just a cautionary tale if one finds themselves presented with similar opportunities in their own lives. If this sounds like a great fit for you or for someone you know, I hope you look for it wherever you get your books.